Hello, everybody. It's me, Kirsten, and this is the It's Giving Mystical podcast. And this is your podcast for June 2026. Hey, how did May treat everyone? How was that journey through the sacred and the profane? I want you to think about something in your life that matters, whatever's hot for you right now. Maybe it's work, maybe it's purpose, maybe it's health, maybe it's love, maybe it's money, maybe it's abundance, maybe it's creativity. Whatever the thing, maybe it's your family, your friends, whatever the thing is that you're working right now, I want you to think back to the beginning of May, and I want you to take a moment just to note what has shifted for you. And this sounds annoying, like it's a journaling exercise. Like, come on, Kirsten, I don't want any homework. I just want you to tell me what the cards say. But there's something so powerful about pausing and taking stock, taking track. We really don't understand. We're not aware of how we're changing. We're not aware of our growth. We're not aware of how hard we work and what we endure and what we are shifting. And so it's so important to just pause for a second and look back at the beginning of May. Notice in that part of your life, ideally, what has shifted, what's different. And most specifically for the sacred profane conversation, what matters to you now in a way that it possibly didn't in the beginning of May? What thing did you think, I just can't get to the other side of, and you're on the other side of it? And what does that do for you now? What's the conversation now? We kind of, because we're looping thoughts most of the time, and most of the time we're in a pretty reactive state, most of us, and we have to work really hard to not move that way. Because we're there, we're constantly jumping into the next thing. And even as we accomplish what we're meant to accomplish, even as we grow, even as we do beautiful things, we are always ready to do the next thing. And we don't often take time to say, wait a second, this is different. And I did something in May, something shifted for me in May that I want to acknowledge and I want to take stock of and I want to appreciate about myself. And specifically in that area of your life, I want you to note something that in April you would have said, no way. No way is that a possibility. No way is that something I might honor or value. And now you're looking at it differently. And you're like, oh, wait a second. That thing that I thought was profane, that thing that I thought was out away from God or apart from love, I'm looking at it differently. I'm feeling it differently. And that thing that I thought was like a must have, like benchmark, this has to be this way, all of a sudden that's become more malleable, more flexible. That's what this conversation around sacred and profane looks like in a life, looks like in a daily life. So it's a bigger idea of what's getting activated in the system collectively right now, what each of us are becoming. And I come back to this idea of, yes, the revolution will probably be at some of these attention centers that are just impossible to comprehend. And also, the revolution will be in honoring the beauty and the sacred quality of your own life, of your own fire. Because when you do that, you can't not honor the sacred quality of other humans. You can't look at another person and think they are less than, and think that they don't also have value, and think that they are not also a sacred, divine creature. And so it's like the paradoxical, counterintuitive, oh, if I actually see myself as something sacred that has innate intrinsic value, I can't see other people without also appreciating that about them. And if you feel like you're like, well, I'm sacred, but you don't also see others that way, it doesn't transform your sight. Your sight doesn't drop down into your heart space where you begin to feel people from the sense of divinity, of, again, implicit, cannot be removed divinity, then that's your ego. Because if you're really in your heart space, if you're really with yourself in a sense of thank you, gratitude, sacred, divine, magical being, you can't help but perceive others that way. And that too is a revolution. So just noticing in May what shifted for you, especially in the part of your life that seems to have the most kind of contraction or struggle or attention, or it's the loudest part of your life, or the part that's up for evaluation and understanding. It's interesting to take a moment. You can go back, you can go into your camera photos, your phone photos, and be like, oh, what was May? I just did it for myself. And I was like, oh my God, May was 18 years ago. And so I might be criticizing myself for what I haven't done, but look at everything I have done. Look at all the places I have been. Look at all the growth that I have accomplished. Look at how far I've come on this path. We just get so impatient with ourselves. And the last thing I'll say about the sacred profane thing is it's just an interesting a window, perception, perspective into our relationship with our body. So just noticing that's going to be alive in some way, noticing if that's alive in a way where you're honoring your body for the gift that it is, whether you're staying with your body, whether you're listening to your body. What's your body yelling at you right now? What's your body saying to you? Where does it not want to be ignored anymore? In shamanic thought and energy work in general, the idea, right, is that the body is the last line of defense. And we might need to work something at the energetic, need to work something at the mental, need to work something at the emotional. If we kind of resist, ignore, it develops as a physical symptom. And that's not to be like, if you have pain, that's your fault. It's to be like, listen, there's many layers of what's happening and everything is connected. The body, the mind, the heart, the energetic system, it's seeking harmony. It's seeking movement, it's seeking expansion, it's seeking momentum in a very holy way, seeking to experience itself, experience life from this vantage point, from this viewpoint. And so when we have a physical symptom, it's not that that's our fault. It is, though, that's a doorway. So what is that doorway offering to us? And often we just want to ignore it and paste over it and patch it up and then move on. And I would invite you instead to, especially at the end of that month, in the beginning of this next June month, what is my body trying to communicate to me? If my body is not just trying to hinder me or handicap me, but it's actually trying to speak to me about something important for my own freedom, my own experience of myself as love, what might my body be trying to communicate? What might it be trying to express as a value or as a doorway or as something important for me to encounter and dialogue with? Okay, offer that to you. There's something really important in May about how our relationship with our body shifted, and I hope that that feels like a healthy, loving thing for you. The June energy. So if you want to hear more about the Lovers card, I'll talk about it a little bit today. But last year's June podcast, we had the Lovers and the Devil side by side. And I went into detail about that comparison and looking at the Lovers card as its own story, as its own narrative. So I'll touch on that today. But if you're interested in learning more about the Lovers card, particularly that relationship between the Lovers card and the Devil card, go back and listen to last June's podcast because I kind of go into a lot of detail around that. And I probably won't repeat some of that. This is a very different energy coming in for this June, and the key word is going to be activation, particularly some kind of crown chakra, head space activation. There's something very important about flames in the crown. In almost every card, we have this sense of the peak and the peak being lit up. There's something. Let's TBD, right? We'll come back and check in on this. But there's something about an activation, particularly a crown chakra activation, that's going to be present for June. I do think there's wish fulfillment here, and there's also, be careful what you wish for. So there's this little bit of this tension between what would happen if you actually got what you've been wishing for. So if you have this wish in your heart, I want this thing, and now it comes, are you able to meet it? What happens to you, right? This is the example, and this is like in my own life, right? Dating, my endless conversation with beginning to date again, slowly but surely. But when I go out and I'm meeting wonderful people, and when I'm meeting these wonderful people, there's a contraction in my own system. Am I really ready? Do I really want this? Am I ready to put my heart on the table? Am I ready to step onto the playing field again? And there's a whole negotiation. I'm very aware. I'm very busy tracking my body and my energy in my field. And there's a lot happening there. It's a dynamic movement. And I'm doing this all day. So again, whatever dimension of your life this is active for, it's like, oh, I get what I want. It shows up in my world. That is its own demand, its own ask. It stretches us. We often are wishing for something because there's something about alignment with that expansion that is a deep soul desire. It's something we want so badly. And oftentimes, relationships, opportunities, environments, dynamics, art, projects, we are called to them because they ask more of us. They test the limits. Humans We can get stuck, but that's not where our happiness lies. So we can get stuck, we can stay small, we can get into the comfortable place. And that Queen of Swords energy that we're in this week is really going to make this loud for you. It's like you can stay comfortable, but is that living? You can stay on the playing field, like right in bounds, but what? You can do what you know will be successful, what you know has worked, and do you feel alive? Does it light you up? Is this what you want to do with your precious time? There's something about the human experience that asks us to push ourselves. And again, we can have a long conversation about pushing yourself from self-flagellation and pushing yourself from my heart's calling me forward. And I hope that if we're listening to this podcast, we're moving from a place of my heart's calling me towards this. I don't necessarily know why. I don't know why this is the thing. I don't know what about this is so activating, but I'm seeking activation. I'm seeking expansion. I'm seeking to know myself in a new way, know my limitations, know this body, know my heart, know my spirit in a new way by engaging and encountering things that ask more of me or ask differently of me. And so, this conversation around activation, you have been putting energy towards a desire. Maybe you've been moving that way, maybe you've been wishing for it, you've been doing work around it. And now it arrives, and that is a different kind of challenge. So there's something really beautiful about the lovers offering you this fork in the road, right? Just to take a step back for a second, the lovers card, number 6 in the major arcana, 6 is the number of harmony and beauty. The lovers is the card of differentiation and union. One of the key core human desires is this dance between separation and union. And from what I know in my own spiritual practice and my own experience of that, it is among the most key core desires to experience myself as separate and to experience myself as in union, as one. When we think about a lot of the cosmologies, a lot of the religious faiths in the world, a lot of the mystic traditions, this idea that we all come from one, that there is a source, there is a God, there is a heaven, there is a place where we're all together and it feels great. It's lovely there. And the human experience is one in which we differentiate, in which we become separate. And so much of romantic love, of art, of engagement, of what drives us is to find union again. And on this plane, we're set up as separateness. The reason that sex is such a powerful drive is because it brings us, it's like a mimicry of the grand union, of the great union. It's as close as humans can get to experiencing merging with another. Nature also does that, right? You have moments in nature where it's like you feel yourself as one with nature, as one with another person. Or like when you're in flow in a sport or in the arts, where it's like, oh my God, I can't feel the separation anymore. I am with this thing. I am of something greater. I've joined the flow of something greater. That is a peak experience. We chase that. We chase that in every dimension of our life. One of the great things that drives us is that experience of, I'm not alone anymore. I'm back in the flow. I'm back with source. I'm back in connection. And then the inevitability of that is the pull away. You can't experience that. You can't experience union, coming together, flow state, like the merging, unless you can also experience the separation, unless you can also experience the pulling away, the individuation, the differentiation. So that's a core key drive, a core desire, need, purpose of the human experience is to dance with that. The word Lila, my daughter Lila, she's named for that dance. This idea that there's a dance of coming together and separating, the divine dance, the sacred union. I think they call it the sacred marriage in alchemy. This would come together and then we pull apart. And what coming together only feels as good as it does because we understand that cool distance of the separation. And that cool distance of the separation, the contrast of that with the union, it creates this flux and flow and movement, and that's it. I think that's it, guys. I think that's really, I don't know, think of something you do that doesn't mimic that in some way. The things that you love, they mimic this sense of, I want to find my bigger place. I want to merge with love. I want to merge with another. I want to merge with the community. I want to merge with nature. I want to merge with my art. There's this desire to merge. And the only reason that can feel as good as it does is because you also know the desire, the movement, the gesture towards separation. That's the Lover's card. The Lover's card is we are in this constant state of coming together and separating. And in Jungian psychology and the archetypal work, the Lovers and the Warrior are on polar ends. There's a tension between. And so the Lovers in the Jungian perspective is total union. There are no boundaries. There's no distance between you and I. It's all flow state. And the Warrior is total individuation. I am everything I need. I am an entity unto myself. And the healthy movement is to understand, to be able to exist comfortably, haha, quote unquote, in both of those states. And in David Data's work, when he talks about this idea of the feminine drive towards union, towards love, and the masculine drive, and this again is not man and woman, it's masculine and feminine within us, and the masculine drive towards freedom. He's never said this, but this is my interpretation of it, is that if you follow that drive towards union all the way, you end up in a kind of spacelessness, a kind of freedom. And if you follow the drive towards freedom all the way, you are subsumed by the expansiveness. And so you actually enter a type of union. So in my mind, they actually circle back around to each other. But that's just something I think about, and you may or may not be your experience. But that's the Lover's card. The Lover's card is, I am in this constant flux and flow towards the other, towards God, towards nature, towards the world, and an equally urgent, equally imperative movement away back into my own singularity. That really is the incarnation experience. And so the Lovers is saying to you, this is real. The Lovers is saying to you, all the other major arcanas, they're talking about different states of individuation. And the Lover's card is the first card that comes in where it says, yes, you are an individual of the world meant to experience union with the world. And you can only experience that union by experiencing that individuation. So that's all happening. That's the Lover's card. So I say all of that because that is always with us in June. June is a romantic month. It's a month where you fall in love with another, with the world, but there's this sense of romance to June that is always present, but I highlight it for you this month. Just notice romance in your life. Where does romance live? And how hungry are you for it? And how available is it to you? And how rich is it in your life? And how are you romanticizing things? There's a really beautiful opportunity in June to put some energy into that, to allow that to become important. When I say that to you, when I say that romance is important to you, where does your head go? Like, what do you think about? And where is that okay? Or where is that not for now? Where do you need other people for that? Just play with this idea of what is romantic and why don't I have more of it? Like, why am I not allowed to have more romance in my life? That's available for us. So that's always with us in June. The romance part of it feels pretty highlighted right now. The union part of it feels very highlighted right now. I have a sense, and again, this is just a feeling I'm having right now while I'm sitting with the cards, that a lot of our energy has gone to, maybe also we've had so many planets in Aries, a lot of our energy has gone to individuation for a minute now. And it's a pendulum, right? It's always moving. And so there might be a movement towards union in June that I think a lot of people would appreciate. I would appreciate. I think a lot of people would appreciate that idea of coming together, of finding someone or something that you can unite with, move into flow with, move into union larger than yourself with. Particularly in this month, those two things are highlighted. June, the Lovers, the sixth energy often presents us with a choice. It's often said when the Lovers card comes up, it's less about romantic love, so to speak, as it is about deciding whether we're moving closer to union or closer to differentiation. And it tends to show up as a decision point. It tends to show up as a fork in the road. This way brings me back to myself. This way brings me closer to you. And there's a very finite choice that's made. And it also, the Queen of Swords for this last week also said that there's this importance about discrimination, about the sword, about the break. And that, again, is bittersweet because you might have a part of you that wants to move towards differentiation, but the call to union is bigger. And you might have a part of you that wants to move towards union, but the call towards differentiation is bigger. And so we're just noticing that it doesn't mean that it's always easy to make that choice, but it is a fork in the road. It does require of you inner authority. It requires of you to make a decision. And if you don't make the decision will get made for you. So sometimes that's the way it has to go too. But there is an invitation to be aware of the forks in the road and to, as much as you can, choose with your full chest, your full heart. I choose this. I'm all in. If I'm going to do it, I'm going to do it all the way. This is it. This isn't it. And navigating day by day, minute by minute between this, I'm so clear about this. I am a clear no to this. And everything else kind of just, I wait for it to percolate. I wait for it to reveal itself as a place where I can become clear again. Okay, and then we have the Tower, which we all know is exciting. The Tower is, we've talked about this before too. You can go back and listen to other podcasts where I kind of get into some of the weeds on the Tower. But the most important thing in my mind with the Tower as a general energy is the system not being built for as much capacity, as much energy as wants to move through the system. So a simpler way to say that is that the system needs to expand to hold new levels of energy. And because we are human, because we live in a material world, the energetics are expanding faster than the material can hold it, can become fluid with it, can expand into it. And so there's something about the Tower energy which says there might be a break in the system. The system might get a little fried out, might get a little overloaded because the material just moves slower. The energy is fast, 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 instantaneous. Oh my God, there's more. Kundalini rising, attraction, turn on, energy. There's just all of a sudden a lot of energy. And the system is like, whoa, 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 whoa. I need a second to catch up. I need a second to get bigger, get wider so that I can hold it. So there's something about the limitations. And I almost said self-imposed limitations, but there's a part of me that really resists that. I don't think it's self-imposed limitations. I think it's structural limitations. It's material structural limitations. And so if you can see it with that kind of neutrality without judging yourself or judging others for how much they can hold, taking a breath and being like, structurally, the system needs a minute to adjust. That is an important aspect of the Tower. The other important aspect of the Tower is understanding there are things that want to grow that are inevitable. And the Tower often speaks to the contrast between the things that we're building, tick, tick, tick off my list, like this is what has to get done, and the things that are growing organically. And at the end of the day, the things that are growing organically have so much more power and momentum than the things that we are taking off the list and building with our little Lego systems of life. So there's the imbalance between the material and the energetic is going to win out. The material is going to bow to the energetic. That is the key lesson of the Tower card. And the reason it's so abrupt is because the energy surges. Sometimes it's a slow, steady expansion, but with the Tower card, it's not a slow, steady expansion. It's a voltage increase, a dramatic, instant voltage increase. And so sometimes the structures, the material will quote unquote suffer for that. And that's why when the Tower card comes up, my mother used to always say, just go slower, just drive slower, move slower, decide slower, because you are trying to hold more energy than you're used to holding. And so you're already off kilter, you're already off balance. So full circle, we are seeing that the Lovers is about a fork in the road, is about trying to balance and be fluid in this movement towards and away, towards union and back towards freedom, and the flux between the two. I want to merge with you, merge with the world, and I also want to be seen as an individual, seen as someone unique and differentiated and safe in my own system. I kind of want to close the gates and I want to open the gates and close the gates and open the gates. And then on the other hand, with the tower, you have a voltage increase, a pretty significant voltage increase impacting the structure. So even as I was saying that to you, there's the forward and back of the freedom union conversation. And then there's the fluxing of the walls of the voltage conversation, the energetic conversation. That's not a lot of stability, right? We just can feel that where's the stability in that system, because the system's moving here and it's moving here. So what part of it's staying still? I'll just say to you that these two cards together are saying there's some pretty significant activation, some pretty significant illumination happening where you are just like you're in it and you're awake in it in a way that is new. So the lights coming on, the light bulb going off, the lightning strike, the Kundalini rising, the being struck by like falling in love or being struck like a eureka moment. Just this sense of wow. And it's different than what we talked about last month, which we had to do with a judgment energy. Like I've seen, now I can't unseen. This is like the system getting hijacked. Sorry, that's a rough word to say. Don't be afraid. It's a good thing. It's a good thing because it's, like I said in the beginning of the podcast, the part of us that wants to stay still, stay small, can get heavy and can get lazy and can get in its own looping, self-soothing, sleepy rhythm. And the tower and the lovers coming in wakes that up. It doesn't allow that to be true. And that came up with the Queen of Swords energy. There's a part of you that's like, I know this is a bad habit. I know this is like a little bit of a daydream, but it's comfortable here. This is what I know. This works for me. This is a kind of self-soothing. And the fiercer part of you being like, yeah, but that's but enough. Time to pick up and go. Time to put our shoes on and hit the road. There's something about validating and seeing and appreciating the part of you that's like, but it's so cozy here. And then also being willing to take a deep breath, honor that part of you, and still move and still expand and still reach for more. So the lovers in the tower, activation, more energy in the system, more even strengthening that desire. So if you already had a little bit of inkling that you wanted union, it becoming pretty intense, saturated with that energy. And if you felt like you wanted a little bit of differentiation, that's going to become even stronger a call. There's going to be a saturation in that too. So just noticing what is present for you, which of those things feels more alive. Am I seeking to disappear into another, into my work, into nature? Or am I seeking to become fully liberated from another, from nature, from my work, from time, from money, from all the pressures of living? So there's just this tension, and whichever direction you're negotiating or pulling in, it's going to get louder. It's going to get louder. And then we have the wish fulfillment card. The 9 of Cups came in as a supporting energy. I love this 9 of Cups. It's so fun. Community is also here. This idea of the village community, we'll talk about it in a second, is also here. But this is wish fulfillment. The 9 of Cups is a wish come true. We call it the wishing card. And it's because there's something about and I keep hearing, also in my own practice, my work with Kim Krantz, this concept of saturation is just alive. And it's neither good nor bad. I don't feel attached to what it means, but there's an energetic of getting so full you spill over. What's that like for you? Where do you feel saturated? And it can be a really good feeling and it can be a really frustrating feeling, like an overwhelming feeling, but there's a sense of a sponge that is hitting capacity. It can only hold so much water before it starts to drip over. There's something about the 9 of Cups, which the reason we call it the wishing card is because your heart is so full. 9s are 3s times 3. It's a perfection. And so there's a sense of so much. My heart is so full. It can't help but magnetize to it what I desire because it's this incredibly strong beacon in the world. And that's why we call it the wishing card, because that energetic signal becomes so strong that it can't help but draw to you what you wish for, what will satisfy, what will meet you, what will help squeeze out some of the water, relieve the saturation. So the Nine of Cups being here says to me, this might not be the most comfortable wish fulfillment, but there is wish fulfillment here. And then, and this what it comes back to what I said in the beginning, the wish fulfillment that comes is like, oh, I wish for this, I wish for this, I wish for this, I pray for the full moon, I put it on my vision board, this is my mantra, I want this, I want this, I want this. And then it shows up, and there's that sense of be careful what you wish for. And it doesn't feel like a threat, it just feels like a, oh shit, now it's here. What do I do? It has that energy of like, oh, the fireworks just went off. Oh my God. Has energy of someone who wins the lotto, right? Like, if I just could win the lotto and I could just pay my bills, and then you win the lotto and it's like so much more than you could have imagined, and how there's a whole complicated renegotiation and re-understanding of who you are that comes with that. So it's like the rules of the game change. And that goes back to that out of bounds energy that came up in the last couple of weeks. Like, it's out of bounds. You are not on the field that you've been on. And you meet wonderful creatures in that forest. You meet wonderful creatures on that path or out in the no man's land. And you're not really sure what the rules of the game are. It reminds me of, remember Phantom Tollbooth? Do you remember that book? I can't remember exactly why I'm making that connection, but there's something about learning the rules of the new place. And that's a little disorienting. And then there's this crown activation that, again, keeps coming up. It's almost the emoji where your mind gets blown. It feels like that, but spiritual. That, but make it spiritual. Something about how the crown chakra gets activated and it kind of gets blown wide. And again, not in a scary way, but in a, that's bigger than I could have imagined. And now what do I do? And so the medicine when we have the Lovers in the Tower is to feel the ground underneath you and try to ground the energy and try to take your time. I know this answered everything. I'm like, take your time. But it really is so much of the medicine for so many ills. If we could just catch our breath, if we could just slow down, if we could just not feel like we have to rush to answer everything, to meet every need, to even propel the narrative along. Okay, this happened and I just need a second. The world's not going to pass you by. Life's not going to pass you by. Just give yourself a second. It's going to be okay. But in the moment, it feels like it won't be okay. It feels like everything's going to fall apart if I catch my breath. You can get yourself in trouble with a lover in a tower month thinking that way. You want to just take it easy, take it easy. This is different. This is asking more of me than I'm prepared for, than I could even be prepared for, which is beautiful. That's beautiful. That's so cool. And take your time and give yourself a second to recalibrate. The other cards that came up are Elk, which is beautiful. But again, look, see this? So look at these cards. I'm just going to hold them up to you. Here's the Lovers. Let's put them in the order. Here's the Lovers, which you see the Archangel is really important on this card. And can you see that? He's got this crown of flames, right? And then the Tower, also crown of flames, but a little more chaotic, a little more blown out of the water. And then look at the Elk. The Elk also has this crown lit by fire. The Elk is a beautiful energy of earth and fire. My personal favorite. Men I'm looking to date, I love when they have earth and fire. So earth and fire together is a beautiful combination. It's the steadiness, the groundingness, and the heat, the passion. And so this idea of the antlers being lit up, his crown being lit up. And then we have the Village, which, look at that, again, the peak, the crown, and the fire. And then we have the Princess of the Red Poppies, which is slightly different, but also that red activation, that red color. And this card in this deck, it means that your psychic abilities, your perceptual abilities are expanding. And so when this card comes up, the red poppies are saying it's going to feel a little psychedelic. And the idea that, okay, well, you thought you could see X, Y, and Z, but you can actually see A through Z. And so there's an expansion of your ability to perceive, an expansion of your psychic abilities, expansion of your third eye, expansion of your crown chakra. And then the last card I have is Rosemary, which is ancient memory. So the expansion's happening, but it's not necessarily because there's something new to remember. It's because you're remembering something ancient that has always lived inside you, always been available to you. It's beautiful. This card, Rosemary, it's so clarifying, so gentle. So this and the Nine of Cups really give me an energy of it's going to be okay. There's a gentleness to it. There's a it's all for you energy to it. Oh, I do have one other card, Our Lady of Nourishment. Which also just calm. You're going to get what you need. And this is where it's tricky because it might come in a package that you don't expect, or you might think you want one thing, but you need another. And so there's going to be that renegotiation. Or you think you want something, or something is actually going to be really good for you and nourishing for you, but it's going to ask something of you. It's going to require something of you. And this is a message that came through when I was first playing the cards, but I feel like it needs to be said out loud. You haven't done anything wrong. I don't know why that needs to be said, but it needs to be said. You haven't done anything wrong. So whatever you're working on, whatever you're trying to metabolize or understand more or hold more or stay with or introduce into your life or dedicate yourself to or manifest, if it's not fully there, that's okay. That doesn't mean you're wrong for wanting it. That we really have to, guys, we have to. We have to get to the point where all of life is sacred and all of it matters, which means that when you're getting nudged about a parking ticket, that matters. When you feel desire for something, but you can't really understand why, that matters. When you feel like something won't work for you anymore, or something's really causing you tension, that matters. Every way that life is speaking to you is a doorway. When you have that constant pain in your neck, that's a doorway. None of it's by mistake. None of it's by mistake. And none of it's not for you. So everything that's getting your attention, instead of feeling it as you've done something wrong, there's something wrong with you, you're being punished, there's this beautiful opportunity to just hold it differently. Okay, this is uncomfortable. And what if it's for me? What do I do with it? And in my practice, in my work, I dive into it. I look at it, eyes wide open, and I just stay with it. And it will talk to you. The world is alive. Your body is alive. Nature's alive. The parking tickets are alive. Like, it's all here waiting to dialogue with you if you're willing to consider that as a possibility, if you're willing to trust, even as an experiment, that that's there for you. And so this idea of there's nothing wrong, we have just been preparing something and we are about to encounter something in June. It feels like we're about to encounter some kind of pretty profound activation. And again, it will come in differently for all of us. It is very much related to your divinity. It's related to your crown chakra. It's related to your perceptions, your ability to perceive on many levels. It's related to what you are allowed to want, what you are allowed to have. It's related to this idea of be careful what you wish for. You might just get it. And who do you become in the receiving of the thing that you want so badly? So that's the transformation required. That's the fork in the road required. That's the I'm going to come closer and I'm also going to retreat, and both of those things are valid and right. I'm going to have these surges of energy that my system doesn't quite know what to do with, and I'm going to be patient with that. I'm going to give my body, the material, the world a minute to catch up with what energetically is just true, just happening and alive and true. So interesting. So if I had to clarify what we're working on in June, working on staying safe through activation. If I said to you, you're about to enter a retreat space and something pretty profound is about to activate in your system, is about to come online for you, what do you do to take care of that? And that's why that body conversation in May became so important. Take good care of your body. Trust your body as the sacred vehicle, vessel, divine beast gift that it is, and take good care of it so that when the wish arrives, when the activation arrives, you're physically as trained and ready as you can be. Comes back to that idea, you can only go as wide and big and high as you are rooted deep and wide and low. And so all the work we did in May, whether you realize it or not, was preparing the vessel for the incoming energetics of June. The astrologers say that June is a beautiful month of blessings. I think June 9th in particular, there's some conjunction maybe between Jupiter and Venus that's supposed to be incredibly beneficial, a beautiful blessing. And that's here too. The idea is that it's going to require something of you. So it's going to require an activation. It's going to require an up-leveling. It's going to require new abilities to perceive at different levels. It's going to require a foundation that can hold more. It's going to require structures that can hold more. And so there might be work to do to meet that. And I dig it. Let me see if there's anything else. It feels exciting. When I close my eyes and hold the cards, my heart races. It's exciting. It's happy. It's hopeful. And in shamanism, condor is the East medicine, and it's the part of the medicine that teaches you to fly with spirit, to really let go of ideas of what's supposed to be and to really soar, let yourself really fly free with spirit without agenda, just for the beauty of flying free. And there's a saying in condor medicine that condor is going to kick you out of the nest of your own becoming. So the idea is that condor is actually trying to help us release ideas of who we are and what we are able to become. And it kicks us out of the nest to force us to fly, to force us to let go of preconceived ideas of what's for us and what's not for us. And I can't help looking at the Tower card this month and hearing that idea of, not even hearing the idea, seeing the truth of that there's something that you encounter in this month that forces you to rethink who you are and what you're allowed. And in my worldview, that's awesome. That's amazing. That's my idea of a good time. But there might be some part of you that's, again, coming back to that Queen of Swords energy, like, it's kind of comfortable here, kind of boring. It's a little bit like, need to go take a shower and put on a fresh change of clothes. It's a little bit like they've been sitting there maybe a little too long. But there's something beautiful about what happens when the universe says, enough already, time to move on, time to get going. Is that a Tom Petty song? The Wildflowers? Time to move on, time to get going. It's that kind of energy. So, oh, baby, oh. All right, that's what I have for you. Anything else here? Yeah, this is ancient, important, archetypal. There's something important changing this month, and I'm here for it. I'm excited to hear what it's like for you. And the only real advice is honor the magnitude of this, honor the magnitude of the activation, honor the magnitude of the choices you have to make along the way, honor the magnitude of the way your perceptions are changing or the wisdom is dropping in, and honor your desire for whatever you desire. Don't be your own naysayer. If you want something, you wish for something, wish for it with your whole heart and believe that it's possible versus cutting yourself off the knees and reminding you, well, that's not going to happen. Condor would be like, you don't even know what could happen. Dude, you adorable human. You have no fucking idea what could happen. So if you want something, want it all the way. Want it with your full heart and then see what happens. Beautiful, beautiful energy in June. Exciting. All right, let's pull some cards for the signs. At the bottom of the deck, we have Temperance and the Fox. So that doubles down on this union energy. The Temperance card is the alchemist, right? The mixing, the merging of two things to make something new. And the Fox is in her deck, it's finding the ideal partnership. So there's just the sense of two things coming together. Again, that can be relationally, that can be romantically, that can be work-wise, that can be just two parts of you coming online together. But there's the sense of what third thing is possible when two things come together. Okay, so for Gemini, we have Queen of Cups and Starfish energy. So Gemini, Queen of Cups means you're kind of be in your feelings, going to be trying to figure some stuff out, maybe excavate some things. You just might be more emotional than you normally are, Gemini. A beautiful time for you to be making art, writing poetry, writing in general. There's going to be a depth and an emotionality to your words, to your language, to your thoughts that isn't usually present or isn't the first thing you grab for. And so it's like your normal wit and communication and mental agility meeting this kind of beautiful, rich, and maybe dark soup of emotions. And so there's an ability, if you have the chance to channel that into something, some art, some beautiful way of expressing something deep from your heart. The Starfish says to me that you might feel a little bit caught in the tide of it. So it can be that this emotionality catches you off guard a little bit, makes you feel a little bit lost, adrift, even though the Starfish is not a card of being adrift. These two energies together through the lens of Gemini have a sense of gripping a little bit. Like I don't want to get carried away by this. So like I said, channeling it into something helpful, creative would be a winning strategy. Having someone to talk to, having some way to process this, journaling, whatever's coming up, it's coming up for you. It's something beautiful to be experienced. The Queen of Cups has a depth to her that's a gift to the world. She can feel into things that the world can't actually feel in itself. This is where art becomes part of her process, part of her medicine. But the starfish just says to me, it might be, you might feel a little scared about how deep you go. And so what do you need to do? What are the rocks you hold on to? What are the things that you can use to, again, ground yourself? And like we said, for everyone, it's going to be important that you take your time, ground, feel safe as all this transformation and activation is coming up. Cancer, oh my God, my friends, these are beautiful. The sun and cheetah. These are mirror cards. So the cheetah is in Kim Kranz's animal deck, very much the similar to the energy of the sun. And, this idea that the cheetah burns with the brightness of 1,000 suns. The sun is actually coming from the cheetah. The warmth, the heat is actually internally generated. And the sun is the happiest card in the deck. So this says to me, you feel happy and powerful and free and activated and alive. I mean, like the only thing you could say negatively about these two cards together would be that it's a lot of heat, and not everyone will respond to it. My daughter was at prom and her boyfriend's mom gave her an evil eye pin. They're Greek, and she gave her an evil eye pin to wear on her dress. And I loved it. I thought it was a super cool, sweet gesture. And she said the reason my daughter and her boyfriend are quite happy right now. And she said, I'm doing it. And the whole backstory, whatever. But she said, I'm doing it because I want everyone to enjoy how happy they are without shooting any envy their way. And, to appreciate how beautiful she is without shooting any envy her way, which I just found that so charming and sweet. And I love anyone who's an ally of my children. So that was great. But by the end of the night, and they had the best night, they were happy and they looked beautiful. And by the end of the night, the pin was gone. And we were saying that like an evil eye will often break or it'll get lost when it's done its job. That's here with the sun and the cheetah. This is really bright light. And so you might want to get yourself a little evil eye bracelet to let yourself fully experience the joy and the heat and the pleasure and the just aura of being you in your element without it doing anything other than warming people. Let them save their envy for someone else. So that's what I would say about that. But beautiful energy, Cancer. It says to me, June is going to be just a warm, happy month for you, which makes me so happy. And we have Leo, 8 of Cups and Tiger. Okay, 8 of Cups is the card of walking away. So the 8 of Cups is, it looks great. You got 8 beautiful cups and you put them in a lovely little tower and you're good. You have that one gap, but who cares? And you're like, I care. There's a part of you that is seeking something higher, seeking something fuller. And again, it doesn't really make sense. You can't necessarily explain it. It's not like the world looks at you and says, well, obviously you want more. The world looks at you and it's like, well, you got a lot. And you're like, yeah, but I want more. And that takes a kind of fierceness and a kind of self-advocacy and a sense of faith in your desires and passions and in the possibility of abundance and expansion. And Leo, if anyone can do that, it's you, right? You're the cheetah and the sun. You're allowed to want and to show us what it means to be courageous going after what you want. And the tiger allying with the 8 of Cups says to me that you're going to go after this fiercely. And it's very sexy. It has this energy of can't keep baby in a corner. Whatever it is you're going after, you don't give a fuck what the world says. There's a heat to it and a drive and a fire that will not be denied. I love that for you, Leo. Go on with your bad self. Fight for what you want. Trust what you're being called to. Trust the path that you're being asked to step out onto. It might require courage. It might require a sense of, faith in self, faith in what's driving you that you might not be able to articulate, but doesn't make it any less real. Virgo, 9 of Wands and Camel. So Virgo, 9 of Wands is a great card, but it's the card of the wounded warrior. And it's the card of having accomplished a lot and being a little bit beaten down by what you've had to fight for to kind of stay standing. And the camel is different but similar in that It has an ability to travel great distances, right? It has the ability to carry everything it needs on its back. It has that fire-water combination, which speaks to the Temperance card, the alchemy we were just talking about. But there's something about it's a long road, and I don't know whether it feels like you're halfway through a journey, or you're just starting a journey, or you're coming to the end of what you can manage alone. I think it's more that. It's like you just because you have traveled this great distance alone doesn't mean you necessarily want to keep traveling this great distance alone. And there's a sense of fatigue and a sense of like your resources being a little bit depleted, and you have vast, deep resources. You have incredible strength, but there's something here about independence not being your friend. Sorry. But when we're talking about the Lovers in the Tower, it's like I don't say this a lot, but I would encourage you to ask for help. I would encourage you to lean on other people in a way that might be beyond your comfort. Because when you have the Lovers in the tower and you're in this energy where you're kind of even traveling by yourself for a long time, this is where we want to, my mom would say, like, slow down. Don't drive too fast. Make sure you're not drinking too much, making sure you're not partying too much, make sure you're letting yourself get enough sleep. Very thoughtful, Virgo, about your needs, and not, what do you call that? Bypassing them, or even getting annoyed with them. Your reserves, that's what I mean, not your resources, your reserves. So just really honoring your reserves and like leaning on people when you can. There's something very independent about this, and I think part of your journey in June is going to be, I'm tired of going by myself. I'm tired of carrying this by myself, and allowing the universe to step in and maybe support you in ways that are new, or ways that are a little bit outside your comfort zone. But at the very least, even if you're not willing to like take on a whole partnership or a whole team, at the very least, be watch your reserves and make sure you're taking good care not to run to the very edges. Libra, the Hermit and Scorpion. Okay. Libra. That's really funny, actually. Sorry. Not funny, but Libra and Gemini and Libra and Lovers are not that dissimilar, right? It's different because the Lovers and Gemini is the duality, but then asking you to choose, and the movement towards and away. And Libra's a balancing us and me, and how I balance the I and the we. The Hermit is Virgo energy, and the Hermit is I do it all by myself. And the Scorpion is I do it all by myself and stay the fuck away from me. So this is so kind of anti-Libra energy. So I'm curious as to how it's showing up for you. And it could be what I was saying before, how some of us are going to be called towards greater union and some of us are going to be called towards greater differentiation. I think, Libra, these cards would tell me that you're more curious about differentiation, and or you've gotten really used to differentiation and now you're a little bit curmudgeonly and you have a little bit of a bite to you when someone tries to come in too close, tries to breach the boundary wall. So just notice which of those is true for you and honor what's real. Maybe there's a part of you that needs a little more of your own space, and maybe there's a part of you that is a little touchy when it comes to space, that could relax, that could soften a little bit. What I feel from these cards is I'm very drawn to the light and then the light at the end of the Scorpion's tail. And there's a little bit of a, not frantic, but like an urgency to your space that is valid, but also maybe not coming from the most resourced, authentic place. So it feels a little bit like you've gotten used to managing the boundary line and fighting for your right to be alone. And I would just be curious this month about whether that feels like an authentic movement towards differentiation and freedom, or whether it feels like if I give someone an inch, they're going to take a mile, because there's a little bit of that energy. Okay. Scorpio, the World, and Buffalo. Cool. All the water signs are, I like where the water signs are going this month. The world and buffalo. So the world is an end, a pretty major, significant ending, the end of an era, the end of a chapter, a rebirth into a new era. And buffalo is such power. It's the way we're talking about the cheetah being the power animal of fire. The buffalo is the power animal of earth. To be so grounded, you can draw down the lightning, which is interesting for that to come up in a tower month. This says to me, Scorpio, you're going to be a little better prepped than most to manage this. The cheetah, the Cancer is going to manage it because they're going to fly with the fire. The Scorpio is going to manage it because they're going to eat the lightning. That's what comes up more. That's the vibe of like, oh, we're transforming. Let's do it. That is that kind of energy. So there's something about you being very well prepped physically, almost like you knew to expand the container before the lightning arrived, before the voltage surge arrived. It's like when PSG or someone does work to the lines before there's a storm. That's you, Scorpio. Good on you. It's like you're ready for this. That's what I'll say. Between the world and the buffalo, fucking bring it on. Bring it on. You feel very ready for this in a way that's kind of fierce and intimidating. And I'm a Scorpio, so I'm sure there's a part of me that resonates with this too. But channeling it, I don't feel it as mine. I feel it as like, oh shit, someone's ready. Someone's really ready. So cool. I don't know what, there's nothing negative to say about that. What could I say? I don't know, it feels pretty good. It feels like Cancer's energy with the sun just feels nice. This feels like, I guess what you would say is be compassionate with those who are not quite as ready. This feels like a prepper energy. Is that what they call it? People who are ready for the end of the world and they have all the water and the canned goods. It feels like that, but with your body, with your energy field. You're like, I've been preparing for this moment for years. It's that kind of vibe. So be compassionate with everyone not being as prepared as you are. Everyone not being, you might need to lend out some water or some canned goods. You might need to not be impatient with people if they're not quite as prepared for this as you are. A little compassion, a little tenderness. Mostly just enjoy the fact that you're like, I knew this was going to happen. I love it. Scorpio, it's very funny, very pleasing energy. Sagittarius, 6 of Wands and Phoenix. All right, go on with yourself. Look at that. The owl energy in the 6 of Wands, victory, that's the victory card, and the Phoenix is rising from the ashes. So Sagittarius, beautiful. That's interesting. Yeah. So different from Cancer and from Scorpio, but equally like, hallelujah. There's something about this energy that is through the fire, walking through the fire of transformation, walking into the lightning. It's so interesting, like walking into the storm. So it's like the buffalo is just so grounded they can draw down the lightning, but the Sagittarius, like, you actually step into the lightning's path. And not only does it transform you, do you become something new from it, but you rise victorious. It's very dramatic energy. It's giving Gandalf falling into the pit and coming out as Gandalf the White, like knowing, like seeing it before it happens, and then having no fear entering the fray, entering the transformative fires. Sagittarius, woof, that's very brave, but also very wise, very, talk about vision. This is cool, Sagittarius. I'm so curious as to what that looks like in your life. But you emerge something like brighter and fiercer and wiser. It's so cool. Okay, that's cool. Sagittarius, Capricorn, 5 of Cups and Nightingale. Okay, cool. So 5 of Cups, we know this card, not always easy, often called the card of grief. There's so much to say about the 5 of Cups, but the energy is that, life hurts, we grieve, and we can't necessarily set the timeline for that. I have a neighbor who lost her husband and she's devastated by the loss of him, and she's also hard on herself for grieving the way she's grieving. And I remember when I lost my mom, that first year, I didn't even know what I was doing, much less could I articulate that I was grieving. I was just trying to find the ground again. I think you go into I know the 5 stages of grief are a little outdated, but there is a shock that you go through that it's because it's shock. You don't realize. You're just like, I can't think clearly. I don't know what's happening, and I have to just kind of go through the motions. So that's here with the Five of Cups. But more importantly, because it comes with the Nightingale, it's like, don't shy away from saying what what is hard for you. It doesn't all have to be beautiful, Capricorn. There's something about, you have a tendency to make your way, to fight through the pain, to get where you need to go, to kind of muscle through. And there's something about the Nightingale and the Five of Cups that says, like, that doesn't allow the world to know you. For it to always be okay, you lose some kind of, to come back to that union, you lose some ability to connect and merge with. One of the great universals is our grief. Like, we're all grieving something, and it changes. And talk about transformational fires. We don't emerge from our grief the same as we were. And there's something about the Nightingale, the singular message of the Nightingale is that the world is, it aches for your song, and you're the only one who can sing it. And there's something here about being broken open a little bit in a way of being known and being seen. And just notice where you might be kind of thinking you have to hold it together, and be curious about how might that isolate you. So the opposite of choosing to differentiate, it's like, I just pulls me apart because I think I'm the only one experiencing this. And there's something about trying to express that. It might be through words, it might be through conversation, it might be through art, it might be through song, it might be through movement. But there's something about, it's okay for me to be a mess. It's okay for me to be grieving. It's okay for me to not be able to muscle through this. Sorry, Capricorn, that's a little bit of a tough one. But also, I hope it comes through as kind. The world wants to know you even in your imperfection, even in the parts of you that fall down, the parts of you that can't get back up. There's nothing wrong with that. It just shows that you're human, and when you show someone you're human, they can know you. Okay, so Capricorn, Aquarius, Page of Wands, and Sea Serpent. Okay, Page of Wands and Sea Serpent. Fire and water, again, that temperance, that alchemy mix. This is interesting because this is moving. I think the Sea Serpent she represents your throat chakra, and the Page of Wands is like learning to hold my fire in a new way. So there's definitely the energy of transmutation here. There's something stirring in you, some kind of heat, some kind of fire, and it wants to be expressed. So it could be that you want to express it to another person. It could be you want to express it through your art. It could be that you want to make changes to your life. But there's something about this thing that can't be suppressed or denied anymore, can't be unspoken, unsaid anymore. And if that feels good. And there's something about it that's like transformational and alchemical, not just for you, but for everyone around you. Be brave enough to say the thing, to try to express the thing this month, Aquarius. It feels actually really simple and very important for you to try to express something essential through your voice, whatever that means to you this month. Aquarius, Pisces, Queen of Wands, and Stingray. So look at the triangle on both of those cards. That's interesting. Queen of Wands is the Queen of Fire. We love her. She's a troublemaker in the best way. You feel turned on and lit up and sexy and free, and don't fence me in. And it's such good energy. She's so much fun, the Queen of Wands. So it's the part of you that feels flirty and free and on fire and lit up and excited about life and believing in yourself. So good. And the Stingray has the opposite connotation in this deck. So the Stingray has to do with going with the flow. So the two things are, like, just trust what turns you on. Just follow the flow of what is lighting you up, and let that be enough. Let that be its own. Talk about it. This also feels like transformational fires. Let that be its own transformational fire. And your work is like chakra alignment, which is such a specific thing to say. But your work is, does this channel feel clear? So yoga, meditation, journaling, energy work, all really well aspected for you this month. But does this feel good? And am I following the flow in a way that allows my chakras to stay clear and open? It feels like you're going to be learning about yourself. So this is interesting because this has the feeling of differentiation again, but this feels like a very magnetic differentiation. So it's like you might be differentiating, but that actually draws people to you, that actually draws people into closer to you, because you're just going to feel really good and lit up. And I love it. I love it for you. Okay. Aries, death and owl. All right, Aries. It's different than Sagittarius. So the fire signs are definitely doing something. It's different than Sagittarius, but it also is not that dissimilar in that you are going through some kind of transformation that you can almost, you're almost like watching yourself go through a transformation. There's almost a part of you that's perceiving your own struggle, your own, it's like watching something get birthed or watching the butterfly emerge from the cocoon. You are both the butterfly and you're the one observing the butterfly. And so you have this kind of duality of experiencing the transformation, experiencing the metamorphosis, experiencing the death, and also being the observer and the witness and the maybe even orchestrator of the. So that's interesting duality. And so it feels like for you, Aries, of everything I said before, this expansion of your perception, your perceptive awareness, your third eye and your crown, you just seeing at a new level. Some part of the matrix is expanding for you. And oh. So not only am I experiencing the transformation, but I am the one inspiring the transformation and also witnessing the transformation. So it's a little trippy in a good way. And then Taurus, we have the Four of Pentacles and the mouse energy. And Taurus, everyone else is riding the lightning, and you're like, I'm just going to stay here. So the mouse energy has a little bit of a fear-based thing to it, and the Four of Pentacles has a little bit of a holding back energy. But I would say that something about this feels kind of Virgo devotion. It feels like a pulling back and a making small. Not there could be a fear element to it, but less as a fear and more as a devotional energy, more as a biding your time, more as a preparation, holding back your resources, holding back your, it's like the mouse collecting the food, the Four of Pentacles holding their wealth, their resources. There's something about like almost like saving for a rainy day. How does this sit with the other energy? Yeah, it's so interesting. It's so different from everyone else's energy, but it has just kind of like pulling back, drawing back, saving my resources, a little bit of an observer energy, waiting for things to come to you. It's the most simple thing coming through is like saving for a rainy day. It's like, I'm just gonna pull back. I'm not gonna expend all my resources. I'm not gonna expend all my reserves. I guess it comes back to a little bit what I was saying with, who was that? Virgo, with the not going through all your reserves. Taurus is also doing something where they're just managing their reserves. They're stoking their reserves. And it feels very quiet. It feels very different than everyone else's energy, but it also feels completely appropriate. So just allowing June, Taurus, for you to, if you feel like you want to kind of pull back or keep your reserves. There's something doing a little with a lot. No, doing a lot with a little. So take which one feels good to you. But there's something about feeling like you don't have a lot. So feeling like you have a little, but doing a lot with it. It has like Jack and the Beanstalk or like Rumpelstiltskin. There's something about you don't have anything, but for some reason you're spinning something. You're spinning a lot. You're creating a lot out of something that looks like a little. Yeah, it's very interesting. So it's like reserves, and then the loaves and fishes from the Bible. It's like, it doesn't look like I have that much. It looks really quiet, but something much bigger is happening. Or it like looks really small, but it actually can feed a crowd. Or it looks like I'm not doing that much, but I'm actually doing the most. It's like there's some kind of contrast or paradox to that energy. Okay, cool. So there you go. Happy June. Hope that this is helpful. Hope this gives you something that offers you guidance or love or support or companionship when you need it. And let's see what happens. Let's see what the activation brings us. I'm here for it. I'm excited. And that's all I have to say about that. The Lovers and the Tower, activation choices and following the flow of life's request that you expand. Okay, I'll talk to you later. Bye.